Hello there, it's Football-Oranje. I'm Michael Statham and with Mike Bell, like we usually would for any old Football-Oranje podcast. And today we thought we'd do something a bit different. We thought we'd go live and see who wants to join in. And if it's successful, we'll try and do it more often. We might use it for sort of post-match games, that kind of thing, and see who is around to talk about the games. Well, today we're going to do a preview, and the Netherlands are going to be playing the Nations League again soon, the competition which, of course, they got to the final of in the first edition of. Second edition this time, and there's games against Poland and Italy, both at home, and I believe in Amsterdam, Mike, and on the 4th of September and the 7th of September. Two big games and lots to look forward to with these.
Yeah, two big games. They're coming at a weird time. Obviously, with the Eredivisie not being back yet and the season just ending, it's a weird time to have international games. But yeah, I think it's the same for any country. So I'm excited to see, well, firstly, the squad that Ronald Koeman picks, whether it's in the next week we'll see a provisional squad or in 2 weeks' time. And yeah, I think it's two games that the Netherlands have a great chance of winning. And yeah, I'm excited to see the Netherlands back in action because it seems like it's been ages since the last game. And yeah, I'm ready for it to be back.
Yeah, it's been so long, and it's going to be weird how it's coming before the start of the league, isn't it? And so many players aren't going to be fit. I think some of the other leagues as well might even start just after the Dutch league, and that might mean that there's players that have. I can think of some examples already from the Eredivisie where there's players like Boadu and Malen who are just coming back to fitness and therefore might not be top fit, ready to go for international matches, especially against Poland and Italy. I should just say before we get really stuck into these games that we've got, of course, this live feature. So if you're here watching with us, please do leave a comment. And if you're watching this back after we've been live, in future, make sure you join in with us live and you can drop some comments in whenever you're around. So yeah, we're restarting a competition which the Dutch, of course, got to the final of last time, lost 1-0 to Portugal. There were lots of issues with the attacking line in that final. And leading up to it, really, we've been talking for a little while about how the Netherlands are lacking that top-class striker. But Memphis Depay seems to be the answer. And when he's fit again, he could be the answer again to lead the line. He's been playing really well, hasn't he, for Lyon? And he could really be an asset against Poland and Italy.
Yeah, right now there's a lack of options for Ronald Koeman up front, especially. I think that Memphis Depay being back fit is a massive bonus for him because without him, we really lack an out-and-out striker. I think in the last couple of games, it was Ryan Babel playing there, and I don't think anyone wants to see that again. Then you look at Xerxes, not quite ready yet, and Malen's only back from injury. Bodu's only just fit again, and he said haven't started really this season yet. Yeah. So you are really relying on Memphis Depay. I don't think he had the greatest game of his career against Man City. I think Lyon still got through, but it's good to see him back fit, and I think that he always seems to up his game when he puts on that Netherlands shirt. So I think that once again he's going to be the key man for Koeman up front. And yeah, I think that if he can score the goals, I don't know who he's going to be partnered with right now. That's the only issue I've got with this Netherlands team. Who's going to play on the sides of him? Because if Stengs isn't fit, you don't want to see Babel in there. Then you've got Promise not started the season yet. Bergwijn, at the end of the Premier League season, he was on the bench for Tottenham. He wasn't getting a game at all. The other options are like Dilrosun is still young. Kluivert was benched by Roma for the end of the season, and Danjuma, who went down with Bournemouth. So it's going to be interesting to see who Koeman picks to go on either side of Memphis, because I think that's the biggest issue everyone's have at the moment.
Yeah, that will be the biggest thing. I think that will change a lot between now and the next year's competition. And the Nations League is a chance to really try that at a high level. Just got a couple of comments here that I'm going to put on the screen. So someone was here talking about Memphis Depay. He thinks he's not yet at full level with Lyon. Would you agree with that, Mike? Did you watch the quarterfinal last night?
Yeah, I watched the game. I want to see Memphis in action, and he tried hard. He worked all over the pitch. He played 75 minutes, but yeah, some of his dribbling was wayward. He didn't seem to get past his opponent. He lost the ball quite a few times. He was taking free kicks. He didn't really reach the man. They smacked him a few into the wall as well. I think it was a frustrating game for him. It's great to see Lyon go through, and I think that all the hard work he's put in to get back fit for the Euros, it's paid off now because he's in the Champions League semi-final with Lyon. It'd be interesting to see what the Lyon coach does, because Dembele was his replacement when he came on, and he's one that scored twice. So I don't know if Rudy Garcia might think for the next game to switch them, but I doubt it since Memphis is now the captain. He might play both of them up front. It's going to be a tough game against Bayern Munich, looked outstanding against Barcelona. So, yeah, I don't think Memphis is 100% yet, but after spending so many months out, that's understandable. And I think it's just going to take a few games for him to reach his level again. But yeah, when he pulls on that Netherlands shirt, he's a totally different player when he plays for Lyon anyway. So I think he should be fine for the Nations League games.
Just a quick thing on Kenny Tater as well. Is he playing a regular right back now for Lyon and in these big games as well?
No, he came off the bench yesterday, I think, because he needed an extra defender on, but he's not a regular at all for Lyon. I think Koeman might still pick him for the right back slot as a backup, but then you've got Dumfries, and I think everybody would rather see Hans Hateboer get a chance after his performances for Atalanta. So maybe he might sneak into the provisional squad, but then he might drop out because I think Dumfries and Hateboer will be the two main right backs.
Sure. Another comment here about Memphis Depay. He just needs to play more regularly now, and he'll come back to his level soon enough. Yeah, agreed. You were saying there that he maybe isn't at top level yet with Lyon. Yeah, so long, hasn't he? He really needs that full season now ahead of him to get ready. But he could have been fit for the Euros had it had still happened in June. And he thanked Koeman for that he's for the faith he showed in him. I wonder what that would look like though if you had Memphis playing, even though he wasn't 100% fit in that major competition. But I think it's one of those where the Netherlands maybe can't do without him.
Yeah, you've seen it with PSG, kind of rushed Mbappe back. It'd be the same with Netherlands for Memphis, who would rush him back just because he is so important to the national team, and the other options would have been fit either. And yeah, the other options just aren't his level. You don't want to play Ryan Babel up front on his own, or a Luke de Jong at Euro 2020. You want to play a Memphis where he's 60% fit, 70% fit. He's a better option than them two.
I was actually looking back upon the games, the last two games the Netherlands played. These games in September will be the first games they've played since November of last year. A 5-0 win over Estonia. And some of the choices between that game and the 0-0 draw with Northern Ireland, they baffled me to look back upon because I forgot about the injuries they must have had at the time. I mean, against Estonia, I know it's a game where the Netherlands need to be dominating the game and attacking, but Quincy Promes is playing at right back. And against Northern Ireland, Joel Veltman was at right back. Choices as well with regards to centre back. It's interesting to see Ake getting a game against Estonia, and Luke de Jong was in the striker's role, and Memphis Depay was on the left against Estonia, and against Northern Ireland, Ryan Babel was leading the line by himself. There's some players there we don't want to see really, as harshly as I say, really put on a Netherlands shirt again. We don't really want to see him around the squad. But Koeman was picking these players in. Is this going to continue? Like, Luke de Jong might be given the starting striker's role with Memphis put on the wing instead.
It could happen. The lack of options for Koeman means that Luke de Jong is still a possibility, along with Wout Weghorst. Luke de Jong, he hasn't had a great season for Sevilla, but he did score that crucial goal against Northern Ireland when we did win that game. He is just a big target man, and when you're coming up against a side that defends a lot and need someone to put crosses into the box for, it's Luke de Jong or Wout Weghorst. He's just a different type of player to Memphis Depay. I think that Quincy Promes, the right back experiment, it was interesting. I think that it's a role that you could work him into if you're playing against lesser sides. I wouldn't want to see him against top sides playing a right back, because I don't know if defensively he'd be up for that. But against the likes of Estonia, if you're trying to, if they've got 11 men behind the ball, somebody like Quincy Promes on a right back is a good option. I think you've seen what Bayern Munich have managed to do with somebody like Alphonso Davies, a left winger, just playing him on the left of defence. It works really well. So yeah, I can see that being an option against smaller sides, but against somebody like Poland or Italy, I wouldn't want Koeman to experiment with a right winger at a right back, because I think that they have the players that could capitalise on that.
Yeah, absolutely. Provisional squad's out next week. Is it out really soon, Mike? And do you expect any surprises in that squad? It's hard to tell, of course, because so many players aren't quite fit yet, are they? Do you think there'll be any surprise names?
It's difficult to say. in normal times, a provisional squad would be out next week. It's only 3 weeks until the game, so you'd have provisional squad next week, then final squad the week after. If you look back at the provisional squad that was named before, coronavirus ended the season, you had Ihataren in there for his first call up. You had Vindal, Coop Miners, you had Stengs in there, Boadu. It's going to be interesting to see if Ihataren maintains his place, because I think that the KNVB were keen to tie him down. He could still represent Morocco, and he said in the past that he's 100% committed to Netherlands, but I think they just want to get that signed and sealed so they don't have another Ziyech issue or a Dest issue. But the things that are coming out of PSV at the moment, he's returned not 100% fit. So it'd be interesting to see if Koeman would still pick him, even though he wouldn't be. I think if you're looking at PSV at the moment, they're not playing that great in pre-season, but the one standout player is Cody Gakpo. Could he be a surprise call-up? You never know. If he's in form, we need wingers. He could be in there over Stengs, who isn't fit, or Boadu. And then I think that Vindal, he's still a good option for left back. And yeah, I would pick him, see how he does. Maybe give him his debut. And Coop Miners as well. I think he definitely deserves a call up over, say, Kevin Strootman, who, is one of the players I think we'd all say we don't want to be around the national team alongside Ryan Babel. De Ligt's going to be out, so you might pick another centre back option. Like Congolo is out; he's not played for a while. So it'd be interesting to see defensively who he picks. I think that position is down to Nathan Ake or De Vrij. I think we all want to see De Vrij given a chance after the season he's had for Inter, but as you said in the last game, it was Ake that got a chance, and his move to Manchester City might help him get a starting role in these next 2 games. But yeah, I can't see any major surprises. I think that Koeman will go with the options that he knows. The only one that I think we're all waiting to see what happens with is Robin Hossens at Atalanta, the fullback. The Telegraph came out last week and said that Germany are favourites for him, and I think Germany will pick him for their Nations League games. But Netherlands are still in there at the moment. Koeman sees him as an option, and he might try and pick him and see if Hossens basically give him the chance to make the decision. If Germany and Netherlands pick him, then it's going to go down to his personal choice. Whereas if he just lets Germany pick him, then we didn't even put up a fight. So yeah, I think that we'll see if Hossens gets in there. Ihataren and Vindal are the ones that uncapped players that I can see getting caught up, as long with Coop Miners as well.
Sure. I think Coop Miners definitely deserves a chance, whether that's in midfield or in defence. I think Koeman's more likely to play him in his favourite position, isn't he? Yeah, it's tricky to see too many of the players that aren't still fit put in the squad. Donyell Malen at PSV, they had I think it was Stekelenburg watching the PSV match yesterday. So he would have been watching Ihataren, Malen, Dumfries, perhaps no players for Vitesse. But either way, they're there to watch them play in pre-season, but because they've got no other choice. They've got no other way of watching them competitively. And is it then fair to pick players based on their pre-season form? I imagine he probably was there to see how fit they were and how ready they are to play for the Netherlands. It was quite a good intensity game that PSV played yesterday, but they've still got some problems tactically, which I'm sure we'll cover in future Eredivisie-themed podcasts and whatnot. But yeah, I think Malen is the answer as a striking role, but maybe not in the Poland and Italy games. He was only given half an hour, for example. So yeah, let us know in the comments, by the way, if you're watching the live stream, if there's anyone that you'd put in the squad that maybe hasn't been given a chance so far and might even be given a starting role. Let us know in that sort of live comment section. Another one's Moran Boadu then. Do you think that he's ready for the squad?
Right now, I'd say he's probably not 100% fit. So it's difficult to say if he's going to be playing. I think Luke de Jong, Weghorst, Memphis, they're probably going to be the 3 strikers, whereas Boadu is probably 4th choice at the moment. Along with Malen would be 4th choice, but Malen isn't fit. I mean, he just played half an hour yesterday. You can't really say that he's going to be ready for intense football games in 3 weeks' time if he's only getting a half an hour at the moment. So yeah, it's good. It's an interesting squad. It's a weird time to pick a squad. Like some of the players just aren't ready, so it's just going to be down to Koeman to decide who he wants to see, who he wants to pick. These games are really a free hit for the Netherlands.
How do you treat that? How do you look upon these games? Because effectively they were just friendly games before, but they made a competition out of it to make it a bit more competitive. But if it was a friendly, you'd say, "Oh yeah, throw them in." But because it's a competitive game, how do you treat that? Poland and Italy, two big games, but ultimately they're friendlies.
Yeah, the Netherlands got to the final last time out. It gave us so much confidence. We lost that final, but the route to there beating like France, Germany, England on the route, that gave the national team so much confidence. I think that this time around we've got easier games. You could say on paper you've got Poland, Italy, Bosnia. The threat of getting relegated and finishing bottom of that table probably isn't there. But you want to see Netherlands again win it, because I think that if you put all these teams on paper, you'd say that Netherlands should be finishing top of this group, but because of the form that they've shown and because of the players that they have, and you want that confidence to continue going into European Championships next year, then the eventual World Cup qualifiers that will come up. So there's important games, and I think that Koeman's just going to use these to get ready for them. And the fact that first two are at home, if you get 2 wins out of 2, then yes, perfect for Netherlands. But it's just, there's a lot of question marks right now just around the squad and the fitness of the players. It's a weird time as well, because the Bundesliga's finished, but there's still some players playing in the Champions League, and then England's finished, but Netherlands hasn't started yet. It's just all the leagues around the world just aren't at the same time. Then you look at, does he call up players because they're playing in Belgium, or because the ones that are playing in Russia, like Vilhena, not been playing, so he's probably not going to get a call up. But there's players around that have been playing for a while, and that might suit certain countries because their leagues are already started. But the Netherlands are waiting until September. So again, it's just wait and see who Koeman picks, and I hope that he doesn't just pick the same names that he's always went with, because I'd say like Babel was an awful form for Ajax at the end of last season, and he's done absolutely nothing to deserve a call-up. So you'd hope that you'd not just pick him because these are the ones that he's had before, but he's always spoke about the fact that he's loyal to the players that have got us to this stage and brought the national team back to being able to compete. So we'll see if he just picks the same names.
Well, there's only like 4 or 5 games the rest of this year, then all of a sudden you're talking about March, and that those March games are going to be pivotal for who's playing in the competition, the Euros. So he has to experiment now, Koeman, if he's going to do it at all. And that's what makes it so exciting, these games against Poland and Italy. I think we'll focus more on these games now, because these will be good quality and probably quite tight. And I think that this first game, Poland, Friday, 4th September, will be a chance to play some new players against a good opposition, but also a game that maybe the Netherlands should be winning. If you're watching the live stream, leave us your predictions now in the comments. We'll try and get them on the screen for you. What do you think will happen in this game against Poland? Do you think the Dutch will win? Will it be an easy win? Will it be quite tight? Or do you think maybe that the Netherlands will get a bit of a shock? Robert Lewandowski says it all, right? Who do you think are the main threats against the Dutch?
Yeah, I mean, Poland are a good side. They're mugs, but I think this is a good warm-up for the games that Netherlands are going to have at Euro 2020, because it's the same sort of caliber of team that they have in the group stages. It's a team that has good players, but then 1 or 2 world-class ones. Lewandowski's in incredible form this season. He's the main threat. Poland are unbeaten, I think, in the last 4 or 5 games. He scores plenty of goals from. If you keep him quiet, though, do they have enough to trouble the Netherlands? Probably not. So you're looking at Van Dijk marking him out of the game, hopefully. But then they've got players like Milik. Szczesny's a great goalkeeper. But the rest of the players they play at decent level clubs, but not great clubs. There's a few that play in England, for likes of like West Brom, Derby. But they're a collective unit. I think they'll be defensively sound. I think they'll probably turn up in the Netherlands to frustrate them, and probably play maybe a 4-5-1 or a 5-4-1 with Lewandowski up front. But it's going to be tight. I think because the season's not been going well, I don't think either country is going to be in top condition. So I think it will be a very close game, one that Netherlands should be winning. But I think that Poland will give us a really good game. I think it'll be a lot tighter than some people would probably predict.
Yeah, I personally think it'll be very nip and tuck, and it will be one of those games which either team could win by the end of it. It's going to be probably quite tight for most of the game, especially with the players not really having played together very much. I mean, as I said, the last game for the Netherlands was November. By the time they've called up, they'll have a matter of days to train together, and they've got to play as a team together. So I also think maybe if Koeman is going to experiment, he needs to, but he'll want to keep many of the players that have been regularly playing together on the pitch, just for a bit of cohesion. You're going to have the likes of Wijnaldum playing, I imagine, and Van Dijk in defence. But yeah, no De Ligt, so I guess it's going to be Stefan de Vrij that's given the nod next to Van Dijk. Although, like you said, Ake was given the chance before at centre-back. But I have a feeling that maybe he's the replacement for Van Dijk and de Vrij is a replacement for De Ligt at the moment. It could change, but I just think that whole sort of right-sided, left-sided thing could come into effect. Maybe. What's your prediction for the game, Mike?
I'd like to always go positive, so I'd probably say a 2-1 win for Netherlands. I think will be tight. I think that going for the lineup, I think that most of it is on paper. You could say that you could pick it. You'd have Cillessen in goal, back four of Blind, Van Dijk, probably de Vrij, and then right back is going to be Dumfries or Hateboer in midfield.
Yeah.
De Jong's going to start. We'll see how he plays. You know, Barcelona are shambles at the moment. He doesn't play in his position, but for Netherlands, he's got to be where he wants to be, and he's got to be able to play without a smile on his face and dictate play again. So hopefully Koeman gets his arm around De Jong and gets him playing at his best. Then you've got probably, I think he played De Roon next to him. I think these are two tough games. I think you want that extra player in midfield over Van de Beek, and then it'll be Wijnaldum, Memphis up front. But then, as I said earlier, I just don't know who's going to be the other two up front. I can't pick at the moment who's going to be. On paper, you'd probably say it'd be Bergwijn and Promise, but then you could pick Berghuis if he's playing well right now for Feyenoord. So yeah, I think it'll be tight. But I'm going to go for Netherlands winning this one, 2-1.
I actually had 2-1 written down as well. I think it's going to be a late winner, probably for the Netherlands. But equally, I think it could be a late winner for Poland. I think it's going to be that kind of tight game. This one's in Amsterdam, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and we've spoken about in the past that maybe the Netherlands play better at the other grounds in the Netherlands. They play better at De Kuip because of the atmosphere. But with a lack of crowds, maybe that may then negate that effect in Amsterdam for once. I think it will be Promes playing with Memphis. He's been playing all right with Ajax so far in pre-season. But it's just whoever goes in that, maybe in the right wing, if Promes is put on the left. Stengs, I don't think is ready yet. And it's a shame because this probably would have been his chance to get a start or two for Oranje. But yeah, not yet. And he's also not really pulling the strings for RZ just yet either. So yeah, I think it will be tight in the fact that they won't create loads of chances, the Dutch. I think Poland try and keep it quite tight. And then, of course, we've got the game against Italy, which is a step up again. So again, if you're watching live, leave us your thoughts on this game and maybe what's your score prediction for this one. Italy have won their last 11 games. It's an incredible record. They scored 17 and only conceded 1 in the last 3. But maybe the momentum won't carry through after having so long since the last win in November. Just like the Dutch, it's been so long since they last played, but nevertheless, a dangerous side.
Yeah, I always think that games against Italy are always tight. They're a good opponent for the Netherlands. It's a sticky one for us because they're so defensively sound. They are unbeaten, or they've won the last 11 games, but you could say that, they're against like Armenia, Greece, Bosnia, not the best clubs, best nations, sorry. But they're going to be so full of confidence. Like the last game, they won 9-1 against Armenia. They've got good players. They've got up-and-coming talents. They've got good experience. Bonucci in defence is still there. Defensively, they'll be good. In midfield, they've got Verratti, who's an excellent player. Up front, they've got Immobile, who's scored tons of goals in Serie A this season. So I think all over the pitch, they've got the players to cause Netherlands so many problems. Whereas I think Poland's going to be a very tight game. This is going to be even more tight. I think it's going to be really hard for Netherlands to win, especially if they're not 100% and they don't have their best squad out, because I think that Italy will be defensively sound and they'll hit us on the counter as well, and I think they'll create loads of chances. So yeah, I would be happy even with a draw from this game. 4 points out of 6 would be a good start. I think that going into ones against, like Bosnia next time around, I think that it's going to be a really, really tough game, especially with no atmosphere in the stadium as well. I think that you say we're playing at home, but we've already seen in the Bundesliga and the Premier League sometimes with no home crowd, no home advantage, no noise, it can kind of cancel out the fact that you're playing at home. So yeah, I think it's going to be almost like a neutral venue, so atmosphere, and it's just 1-on-1 against us. And I think it's going to be a really hard game.
Makes you wonder as well, and I know that the Champions League hasn't been really affected by it because we've seen loads of goals. I mean, Bayern beating Barcelona 8-2 is ridiculous. But if you are playing Italy and you're a Dutch player, you might see the cameras around, but with no people in the crowds, and then you see if they're thinking this isn't the Euros, this isn't the World Cup, and what game even is this? And then maybe that sort of feeling of it not really mattering too much might even negate this game just to a bit of a, hopefully not a damp squib. But I've gone with a 0-0 draw because I know that Koeman might be thinking he wants more clean sheets. When you look at the opposition the Dutch have been playing, they've always been conceding goals against teams that they shouldn't be. And I think that he might really try and concentrate on keeping a really solid base in this game. But that's me personally. What about yourself, Mike? In fact, I'll just put this comment on the screen. He thinks the Dutch will win 2-1. Got another Michael as well. What have you got 2 here? Got a third one. Thanks for your comment. And yeah, that's very positive. And if they get 2 wins in this game, Poland and Italy, they'll be laughing.
Oh yeah, 2 wins would be incredible, and yeah, to even before the season starts, and it'll just give us so much confidence going into the rest of the games. And then again, it's all about building confidence. I think this Nations League is about building confidence for the Euros next year. Yeah, it's looking at the group stages of the teams that Netherlands going to face next summer. You think that Netherlands are going to reach the knockout stages at least. Austria, Ukraine, then they've still got the one nation to be decided. But you say that Netherlands should easily get for that group. It's all just about building confidence and getting a right starting 11, because I don't know if Koeman yet knows his best starting 11 defensively and up front. So I think that the next year basically is going to be try to find those players that are going to come through. Maybe an exciting striker will come through in the next 12 months. That'll help Memphis. But we'll see. We'll see how Boadu does. We'll see how Malen does in the next few months. But yeah, it's really just hard to predict these games because you just don't know what the squad's going to be. You don't know who's going to be turning up fit. You just don't know anything going into these games, and with no crowd as well. This is going to be really close. But yeah, if you offer me 2 wins now, I'd take them definitely.
Perhaps I've got to make the most of the fact that both of the games are at home as well, given how tricky some of these away games can be. And the Germany game, for example, I think of already, and the France game away from home, just with much more difficult affairs rather than at home. They like to really dominate the play with De Jong on the ball. That's one concerning one as well. Frenkie de Jong, you're losing 8-2 with Barcelona. That can't be good relevant to this.
No, I think that it's difficult because you're looking at De Jong and the way he plays at Barcelona. He doesn't play in his position for some reason. They signed him, but they don't want to play him as that deep line midfielder.
Right.
De Jong likes to pick up the ball from the defence, dictate play. He can counter any press that an opposition puts on him, like Bayern Munich put on a press. But then Setien decided to play him at some right midfield, further forward, and it just totally takes him out of the game. It's baffling to see what's happening at Barcelona at the moment. There's just so many things happening off the pitch, on the pitch, that just don't make sense. And De Jong, sadly, is being affected by that. It's going to take someone to come in and make some tough choices, because you're not going to see the best of De Jong unless you play him in his fair position, because you watch him during games. If you're going to put him further forward, he can. Against Napoli, you saw his amazing assist that got rolled out to Messi. He can do stuff like that, but he's not going to shoot. He's not ever going to try and score himself. He's always going to look for a pass. So playing him further forward is just stupid. So he needs to play right in front of defence, play in his best position, which he will do for the Netherlands, and Koeman will get his arm around him. hopefully Koeman isn't going to put his arm around him and say, "Oh, it'll be fine next season. I'm going to be your coach." But yeah, I think that we'll see the best of De Jong, and hopefully with a smile on his face, which you don't see him at Barcelona right now. He must just be hating playing football right now because his dream club has just turned into a nightmare.
Yeah. Well, what a shame for him because he's got the move of his dreams and it's not going well. A comment we had was actually about this, asking if Koeman's the new Barcelona manager, who will be the perfect replacement for him for the Netherlands job? He thinks he'll be the current Ajax manager, Erik ten Hag. Well, yeah, I guess he would be a good choice. He's doing well overall. Yeah, you've got to say he's doing a great job with Ajax, and people give him criticism sometimes, but I don't think he always deserves it. Ten Hag can be a bit sceptical sometimes of his player choices, but seems that he's got the respect of his players now. And maybe, who do you think, Mike? Would Ten Hag be a good choice?
Yeah, he would be. I think the current Dutch national team potential managers you've got out there, you've got Ten Hag and Bosch. They're probably the two that you'd look at the most. And then up and coming, you've got Slot at AZ. But I mean, I don't even want to even consider this as a possibility. I really hope that
Koeman, isn't it?
Yeah, Koeman, he's been linked with the Barcelona job now. I think Mundo Deportivo came out with a story this morning saying that if Barcelona come in from, he'd find it hard to say no again. But that goes totally against what he's been telling the Dutch press constantly. He says, "No, I'm not leaving until after Euro 2020." I think he will eventually get the Barcelona job. I don't see why he'd need to go now. I think it'd be a disaster if he went now. I wouldn't take over that club, the state they're in at the moment. They've got no money to buy players. They can only swap ones. The squad's aging. Why would you want to go to Barcelona now when you've got a Netherlands job, taking them to Euro 2020 with a chance to win the tournament, make yourself a hero in your own country? It doesn't make any sense to me in the moment that Koeman would leave for Barcelona. I know it's his dream, but he can go there in 2-3 years and you'd have a much better squad to work with, I think, and some actual money because they've got none. But if he does go, I think the KNVB would be devastated, and then it'd be hard to find a replacement that's going to have an impact that he had. Ten Hag would be number one choice, but I don't think he's ready for national team management yet. Bosch would be second, but then he's not going to leave Leverkusen for it, and Slot's not going to leave AZ. So it leaves the KNVB looking around for options that would be available, and then the one that terrifies me that we would have to go to would be somebody like Frank de Boer, who discussed that.
No.
So I mean, yeah, that's like the sort of options that they'd have. So yeah, let's just hope that, fingers crossed, that Koeman stays. Even if, he does go, that Netherlands don't just make a knee-jerk decision and go for somebody like de Boer, because it would just be an absolute disaster.
Yeah, would be. I got some more comments here that 2 wins, 2-0, 1-0 wins for the Dutch, 2 clean sheets as well. That would be rare, and I'm sure that we'd definitely take that right now. And also another comment about Memphis. Memphis needs more time to get back to his best. Avoid injury again is more important. Yeah, he wants to take the comeback really nice and slowly, I guess, and he wants to be the main man for the Netherlands. So I guess we won't want to rush him back. Luckily, he's got that year to prepare. Yeah, final thoughts on the games, Mike. Do you think it's likely the Dutch can go these 2 games unbeaten?
It's definitely likely. I mean, these aren't the biggest nations in the world, the best nations in the world, and the Netherlands are coming up against. Are 2 tight games. They can go either way, I think. We always remain hopeful that we can get 2 wins out of 2. It's definitely possible. And yeah, it'd be great to start the season with 2 wins. We'll see the squad that Koeman picks. We'll see how we play. It's just, I guess, as I said, there's lots of question marks over these games that you just don't know about. Without the fans, what players are going to be fit. But then you see it again for Poland and Italy. You don't know who's going to be fit for them.
Yeah, right.
We all know that Lewandowski's in great form, and Verratti's in good form for Italy. But let's just wait and see. I'm excited for 2 games. I love watching the Netherlands play. It's been too long since the last game, so I'm just really excited to watch them, and hopefully we get 2 wins. Yeah,
2 wins will be fantastic. So just before we go, of course, if you're watching this, thank you for sticking around. And our first live sort of thing we were doing, and we think we might continue with these in future, and we'll give you lots of warning as to when you can join in with these conversations as well. finally, we've got some more things on our YouTube channel at the minute that have just come out about Dutch national team. One where I go through the current squad and I pick out some players who should stay, who should go. And on the website, we're doing some more in the future about the young Dutch players that you can watch this season. And we'll have plenty more with terms of podcasts, which you can listen to regarding the new season, especially the new AWZ season. And you can support what we do at Football-Oranje by purchasing one of our wristbands. I'll leave the link to that in our description and in the comments. It does actually work, by the way, this QR code. If you scan it, send you to our website. And with that, I think we'll leave it. So thanks for joining me, Mike, and I think we'll do this again soon. And
it's been good.
Yeah, it's been good, hasn't it? It's quite good to have that sort of interaction, because it's on a podcast. We've got to do like editing and all that. So even though it's more risky because things can go wrong, it's been good to do this. I've got a couple more comments just come in right now, so I'll put them on the screen before we do go. Like I was saying, bring us in back. No.
I'll take Louis van Gaal back, but yeah, you can. Guys, like no, no chance. It would be like bringing Danny Blind back. Like no.
No, I don't think so. Giovanni Van Bronckhorst is a good manager. He's underrated. Well, he hasn't had the best start, has he, in China?
No, 5 games, 1 win, 3 losses, 1 draw. He's not having a good time over in China. So yeah, I wouldn't pick him anytime soon either. It's the same with like Philip Cocu. He's doing okay at Derby. He's not doing great. So, I mean, these are all options for the future, but it's just not now. And yeah, if Koeman did go in the next couple of weeks to Barcelona, it would be a knee-jerk decision by the KNVB, and it would be somebody like Frank de Boer that would come in.
I think
which would just be depressing.
It would be depressing. I think you and I are both on the same page that I just don't think Koeman's going to go. I think he's wanted to manage the country for so long. Why would you give that up now? Yes, Barcelona is a great club, but then he's also at the peak. We're here with the Netherlands. I think it's a sideward step to go to Barcelona, being one of the best nations in the world, really, to manage. It's what he's always wanted. Why would you miss out on a major tournament? And I wouldn't be surprised, if he turns around and maybe the Barcelona job isn't available in a year's time, and he goes, I'm going to stay another 18 months after this, and I'm going to take him to the World Cup in Qatar. Because after that, and I guess you've done it all, haven't you? You've done the Euros, you've done the World Cup, you've done the Nations League, got to the final. So then he might think about moving on. I think Koeman's there to stay for a little while.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, I agree.
All right, I think it's time we do actually finish this now, this live event. So yeah, thank you for your comments. And if you leave some afterwards, we'll try and reply to them. And hopefully see you again on our next live stream. Bye.
Bye.